Hey guys, special Call to Compassion special edition of Everyday Random Acts of Kindness. As I'm sure you've heard, former President and presidential candidate Donald Trump was recently shot in Pennsylvania at a rally in an assassination attempt.
Believed to have fired the multiple shots that went toward the former president in the stage there. Again, this is, there's varying estimates out there, but it looks very, very close. Right outside the venue, would have been right outside where the Secret Service does screening for anyone who goes inside the rally. So again, we're talking probably the distance of about a football field and a half from where the alleged shooter, the suspected shooter, was on that rooftop, and where it appears that's where the people who were attending the rally could clearly see the body of that person down after the counter snipers from the Secret Service immediately took action and shot and killed him. So that's what we believe, that's what law enforcement at this point believes. That's what the order of events. That's where the alleged shooter, the suspected shooter, was standing or was firing from. Again, very short distance, very close distance to the venue where the former president was speaking for just about 6 or 7 minutes. Now, that raises some very, very, very big questions, of course, for the Secret Service.
I am very concerned about how a nation that's already divided in political ideologies is going to respond to this. I know that in times of tragedy and violence, it's natural to feel anger, fear, and division. I myself lived on the front lines of the pandemic, the civil unrest, and political protests. With what happened in Pennsylvania, I am very afraid that we're a nation on the precipice of falling into similar dark times.
Once you start down the dark path, forever will it dominate your destiny, consume you it will.
But we do have a choice. I want to talk about choosing a different path, one of unity, compassion, and healing as a nation. Despite the differing of political ideologies and the vilification of said politicians, when we face a darkness in our world, we have a choice. We can let it drive us apart, or we can come together. We can practice empathy, seeking to understand differing perspectives, rather than vilifying them. To that end, despite our political and personal differences, Donald Trump does not practice kindness. Despite that, I do wish him all the best and a speedy recovery. And I would remind his supporters that his plea of fight, fight, fight after he got shot is not a call to action or a call to violence. We need to not let this violence escalate and deteriorate into mayhem. Political rival President Joe Bidden expressed similar statements describing the attack as sick, sick, sick.
Look, there's no place in America for this kind of violence. It's sick. It's sick. It's one of the reasons why we have to unite this country. We cannot allow for this to be happening. We cannot be like this. We cannot condone this. But the bottom line is that the Trump rally was a rally that he should have been able to be conducted peacefully without any problem. But the idea that there's political violence or violence in America like this is just unheard of. It's just not appropriate. And everybody must condemn it. Everybody.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
My fellow Americans, I want to speak to you tonight about the need for us to lower the temperature in our politics. And to remember, while we may disagree, we are not enemies. We're neighbors, we're friends, co-workers, citizens, and most importantly, we're fellow Americans. We must stand together. Yesterday's shooting at Donald Trump's rally in Pennsylvania calls on all of us to take a step back. Take stock of where we are, how we go forward from here. Thankfully, former Trump is not seriously injured. I spoke with him last night. I'm grateful. He's doing well, and Jill and I keep him and his family in our prayers. We also extend our deepest condolences to the family of the victims who was killed. Corey was a husband, a father, a volunteer firefighter, a hero, sheltering his family from those bullets. We should all hold his family and all those injured in our prayers. Earlier today, I spoke about an ongoing investigation. We do not know the motive of the shooter yet. We don't know his opinions or affiliations. We don't know whether he had help or support, or if he communicated with anyone else. Law enforcement professionals, as I speak, are investigating those questions. Tonight, I want to speak to what we do know. A former president was shot, an American citizen killed, while simply exercising his freedom to support the candidate of his choosing. We cannot, we must not go down this road in America. We've traveled it before throughout our history. Violence has never been the answer. Whether it's with members of Congress of both parties being targeted and shot, or a violent mob attacking the Capitol on January 6th, or a brutal attack on the spouse of former Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, or information and intimidation on election officials, or the kidnapping plot against the sitting governor, or an attempted assassination on Donald Trump. There is no place in America for this kind of violence, or for any violence ever. Period. No exceptions. We can't allow this violence to be normalized. You know, the political record in this country has gotten very heated. It's time to cool it down. We all have a responsibility to do that. Yes, we have deeply felt strong disagreements. The stakes in this election are enormously high. I've said it many times that the choice in this election we make in this election is going to shape the future of America and the world for decades to come. I believe that with all my soul. I know that millions of my fellow Americans believe it as well. And some have a different view as to the direction our country should take. Disagreement is inevitable in American democracy. It's part of human nature. But politics must never be a literal battlefield, or God forbid, a killing field. I believe politics ought to be an arena for peaceful debate, to pursue justice, to make decisions guided by the Declaration of Independence and our Constitution. We stand for an America, not of extremism and fury, but of decency and grace. All of us now face the time of testing as the election approaches. And the higher the stakes, the more fervent the passions become. This places an added burden on each of us to ensure that no matter how strong our convictions, we must never descend into violence. The Republican convention will start tomorrow. I have no doubt they'll criticize my record and offer their own vision for this country. I'll be traveling this week making the case for our record and the vision, my vision of the country, our vision. I'll continue to speak out strongly for our democracy, stand up for our Constitution and the rule of law, to call for action at the ballot box, no violence on our streets. That's how democracy should work. We debate and disagree. We compare and contrast the character of the candidates, the records, the issues, the agenda, the vision for America. But in America, we resolve our differences at the battle box. You know, that's how we do it, at the battle box, not with bullets. The power to change America should always rest in the hands of the people, not in the hands of a would-be assassin. You know, the path forward through competing visions of the campaign should always be resolved peacefully, not through acts of violence. You know, we're blessed to live in the greatest country on earth, and I believe that with every soul, every power of my being. So tonight, I'm asking every American to recommit, to think about it. What's made America so special? Here in America, everyone must be treated with dignity and respect, and hate must have no safe harbor. Here in America, we need to get out of our silos, where we only listen to those with whom we agree, where misinformation is rampant, where foreign actors fan the flames of our division to shape the outcomes consistent with their interests, not ours. Let's remember, here in America, while unity is the most elusive of all goals right now, nothing is more important for us now than standing together. We can do this. You know, from the beginning, our founders understood the power of passion. So they created a democracy that gave reason and balance a chance to prevail over brute force. That's the American we must be. An American democracy where arguments are made in good faith. An American democracy where the rule of law is respected. An American democracy where decency, dignity, fair play aren't just quaint notions, but living, breathing realities. We owe that to those who come before us, to those who gave their lives for this country. We owe that to ourselves. We owe it to our children and our grandchildren. Look, let's never lose sight of who we are. Let's remember we are the United States of America. There is nothing beyond our capacity when we do it together. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops.
Former President Barack Obama also issued a statement saying that political partisanship should not be the catalyst for violence. In the following statement: "There is absolutely no place for political violence in our democracy. Although we don't yet know exactly what happened, we should all be relieved that former President Trump was not seriously hurt, and use this moment to recommit ourselves to civility and respect in our politics. Michelle and I are wishing him a quick recovery." Former President Bill Clinton also issued a statement condemning the violence. "Violence has no place in America, especially in our political process. Hillary and I are thankful that President Trump is safe, heartbroken for all those affected by the attack at today's rally in Pennsylvania, and grateful for the swift action of the U.S. Secret Service. Unity doesn't mean ignoring our differences. It means recognizing our shared hopes for peace, safety, and justice. It means working together to create a world that we would all want to live in. We have the choice. We can choose unity over division. We can choose love over hate. We can choose hope over fear. It all starts with each of us, one person, one compassionate, kind act at a time. Namaste, Kumbaya, may the force be with you. Let's build a future of peace and love for everybody."